What's going on, guys? In this video, I'm going to discuss 8 reasons why you need to fight to stay fit after 40. Let's get into it. Let me pull up my list here. One of the things you start doing when you're over 40 is start making lists, man. Because I can't remember a thing, so I live off of lists. Second thing probably is your vision starts to go, so I have to read off of this list for this video. So bear with me, guys. So hopefully you're watching this video, you're over 40, and you either are, I hope that you're already in a fitness routine. But if you're looking to start a fitness routine, I think that is commendable, and I think better late than never. But there is no more better late than never after this, guys. Okay? No waiting till you're 50 or 60 and getting even older and then deciding to start it then. Like, it's now or never. At this point, the better late or nevers moments kind of passed in your 20s and 30s. It's time to get going. A lot of things in our body is changing when we turn 40. Case in point, I'm wearing glasses, your corneas harden, your vision gets worse, your hormones start to drop, testosterone drops, muscle mass decreases, bone density starts to decrease. Now, I'm not saying you're getting decrepit and you're starting to fall apart in your 40s, but what is going to happen to you later in your 60s and 70s, 50s even, it's starting now. It started in your 30s, and it's going to just it's going to continue through your 40s, and it's going to increase. And then, of course, each decade it's going to get worse. So you have to take steps now to build your body up to be stronger in those later years. So number one is you need to get into some kind of resistance training routine, okay? Now, resistance training is so crucial when we get past 40. I have been resistance training for decades, but in my 40s, I started to train a little smarter. So yes, you need to introduce resistance training, but you need to be smart about it. You cannot train like you did in your 20s and 30s. In my 20s, I could go super heavy. I was more like bro split type training, more like bodybuilding type stuff. In my 30s, I got into martial arts, MMA, Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So I trained more for that, but I still would mix in heavy days. And then in my late 30s, I tried to increase my strength and power. So I started getting into like some heavy lifting. Now in my 40s, here and there, I will throw some heavy lifts in, but primarily the type of resistance training that I would say that you should be doing from here on out is functional strength training. Functional strength training is making sure that you have strength in functional movements. Now, I have ulterior motives for this. I do this because of, again, my martial athlete mentality. I want to be strong and move effectively in the martial arts that I do. But it becomes hyper crucial as we get older to be functionally strong in everything we do. I mean, you don't want to throw your back out when you're getting out of the shower, which I have done. You don't want to slip a disc or strain your back or your neck or something when you sneeze. I've also done that. So you can't recover as fast. And you're just not going to be as strong, which is fine. You can still push to maintain a degree of strength, but you need to get out of the whole super strong mentality or super meathead mentality of training, and you need to just focus on staying strong functionally. Now let's talk about the benefits of resistance training. Again, I kind of touched on as we get older, we have a decrease in muscle mass, and that's just going to continue. There's no way around it. But we can fight and work to maintain muscle mass and to just keep our body strong through resistance training as we get older. Another thing that starts to decrease is our hormones, testosterone, and our bone density. Now, strength training does increase your bone density. It does strengthen it because as you put loads on your body, of course, your muscle mass increases to help carry those loads, and also your bone density increases to do the same thing. Now there are studies that show that there's no guarantee that you're going to get a nice heavy boost in your testosterone, but compound lifts and stuff like that can peak testosterone levels. But those studies are debatable. But there's no harm in doing it, right? And if it does have even the most minute benefit in that aspect, then you need to be doing it. So, one more time, strength training or resistance training is very important to maintain your fitness and just your overall health when you start to get past the age of 40. Okay, so on the other side, or in tandem, as far as I'm concerned, in tandem with strength training is cardio training or conditioning. Now, conditioning is important in general. It doesn't matter your age, just for heart health and circulation, white blood cells, like everything. Conditioning is very important, okay? But as we get past 40, we have to be smarter about the way we train our cardio or do our cardio. Now, I'm going to tell you now, there's a 90-year-old guy out there who's running marathons. There's an 80-year-old running the triathlon, Iron Nun. I don't know if you've heard of her. She's a nun that's in her 80s, I think, and she does Ironman races. So yes, you can be like a super stamina or conditioned athlete or ultra marathoner. But for the majority of us guys, especially for me, I'm a heavyweight. I had to get away from running 15 years ago. The impact of running alone can have serious damage on your joints and your knees and all that stuff, especially if you have a larger build, you just have, just a bigger build. So it's just not something that I recommend as we get into our 40s and stuff. And honestly, I don't even recommend it to my 20 and 30-year-olds or even the fighters that I train. I don't have them run a lot. So you need to start looking into alternative means of conditioning or cardio. What I do a lot of is just, again, body weight. A lot of plyometrics. Now, of course, that's something we have to be careful about because, again, joints and whatnot. So you just have to learn how to engage plyometrics properly. Skipping rope is a huge thing. And then just body weight training, squat jumps, mountain climbers. And my number one I hate but love are burpees. That is the scorcher right there. So just burpees, battle ropes, ball slams. All these things are conditioning, and I can protect my joints because I'm not slamming into concrete, messing with my ankles and my knees, which I did have some issues for years with those in my 30s even, before I hit 40. But right now, my body is dialed in, and through certain recovery means, it's better than it was in my 20s and 30s. But yes, alternative means of conditioning. And other ones are great machines. Now, I'm not a machines person, but for home gyms and just training in general, if you can get yourself on an Airdyne or an air bike, those are great. Any kind of biking is low impact. And row machines or ski ergs, those are great. So look for low impact means of conditioning, but you definitely want to get your conditioning, but do not have one overtake the other. Do not do so much conditioning that you're not getting enough resistance training, and do not do so much resistance training like you're still training like you're in high school or college and you're just doing, isolated bodybuilding lifts and you're not doing any conditioning. So make sure that you're engaged in both. So number 2 is you got to keep your conditioning up. With resistance training and conditioning, another thing you have to take very seriously is the proper warm-up. Now, I remember in my 20s, in high school, I hated warming up. I didn't understand the need for it. I could just take off and go. I used to kind of laugh. I had a friend who was about 10 years older than me when I was in my 20s, and I used to see him at the gym, and he would spend 10, 15 minutes warming up. And I would just go, and I was like, man, what a waste. That's just eating into your workout time. But again, at that time, I was younger, and I could just go like that. Going into my 30s, still wasn't too bad. Now, in my 40s, I do need to warm things up. I still have made the mistake of, if I'm a time crunch or whatever, I jump into a workout without properly warming up. Sometimes I tweak something, but it's not like I've been caused any serious injuries doing that. But I do notice when I don't warm up properly. So you will need to start understanding how to warm up properly. Also, I warm up to prime the muscles that I'm going to train that day, which is very important. for me now, I've learned that making the whole mind-muscle connection and making sure I prime the muscles that I'm going to engage, so ensure that they are worked more than the others, and I'm not engaging too many accessory muscles. If it's a functional type session, I just want to make sure my body performs at its peak so that I can get through all the sets or the time and perform at my best. You should be sure to warm up before your workouts. Even a couple minutes, just get things literally warm. Next, we have recovery. Now, this is something that I wouldn't say I was stubborn about, but I didn't fully understand. You know, if something was tight, I would try to stretch it. You know, in my late 30s, I started understanding foam rolling a little bit and using that. But it wasn't unusual for me to just train with sore muscles or tight muscles. I was kind of the mindset that, you know, soreness was good. It meant my muscles were growing. And once I got warm, I could go. So I always say, man, once I get warm, I can go. So I did that for a long time. Now in my 40s, that started to cost me. And I here and there, I'll get strained back. I'll get pain in my knees. My back will tighten up. And of course, me being me, I will train through those kind of things. I'll just, you know, do a specific kind of warm up that loosens that area up, or I'll wear a back brace, I'll wear knee sleeves, but I will get through training sessions. My friend, Dr. Craig Longley at the Movement Project, he kind of started lecturing me on if I want to be the athlete that I train to be, I need to start taking my recovery seriously. And so I needed to start seeing him more frequently. I do cryo here and there, have myself adjusted, which I just had this thing where I did not like chiropractors, and I did not go to chiropractors for a long time. But going to him, it was more like making sure that my muscles and my nervous system and my spine, were all just where they needed to be so I could perform at my peak. On top of that, I just had to learn through using the proper recovery tools how to just relieve pain. Now I always ask my students, are you hurt or are you injured? So after training sessions, I can be hurt, but it's just tight muscles. Another thing I had to learn about tight muscles is you don't stretch tight muscles. I went through a phase and anything was tight, I would stretch it because I thought that's how you loosened muscles up. But you're supposed to like loosen them up before you stretch them. So that's when you get into foam rollers and trigger point release balls and massage guns, percussion massagers. That's why I do so many percussion massager videos, because I use a percussion massager every day for quite a bit of time on whatever's sore, or even if it's not sore, if it's just a little tight. I just want to make sure that nothing's really impinging or going to be painful the next day when I train. So yeah, rolling things out, stretching them out, using percussion massagers, just using the proper tools and the proper means or modalities, maybe yoga or any stretching mobility type methods to ensure proper recovery so that you can keep performing at your peak. Next is consistency. So everything that I was telling you about warming up and recovery kind of goes into consistency, because by doing those things to ensure that my body can still perform at its peak throughout all the workouts, those things will only ensure that I can provide consistency in my training, right? So I have to be consistent. You can't train for a little bit, take months off, go to the gym twice a week. Like going to the gym 2 or 3 times a week is not enough. If you're in shape, that's barely maintenance. If you're not in shape, you're not really doing much, right? So you need to find a way to be consistent in your training, whatever fitness path you take, whatever fitness modality. If you get into yoga, CrossFit, Pilates, martial arts training, strength training, whatever you decide to get into, you have to be consistent. So that takes me to my next point, interest. So find something that's physical that drives your interest, that you are interested in, okay? If you are interested in it and you love it and you develop a passion for it, then you will be consistent in your training. I do so many different things that my consistency is easy through my Muay Thai training, my boxing, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, CrossFit functional training, bodyweight training. For a little bit, I tried some calisthenics. Like, I just love challenging my body in different ways physically. And all these strength and conditioning methods, I use all those to enhance my primary love and passion, which is my martial arts, which is my Muay Thai and my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, my boxing and my striking. Like, that is These things complement this, so it's just great because it all comes together, and I love doing them all, and every day I have something different I can do. I am never bored. I'm always engaged. I'm always interested, and I'm always passionate about it. So make sure that it's something you're interested in. Now we have diet. Now, diet probably should have been at the beginning, but if you remember, this video is about how to stay fit or reasons you should be fit, or continue your fitness or start your fit, whatever. All this was primarily about fitness. Now, diet, of course, is very important because it fuels your body. Your food is fuel, okay? You have to understand that you need to eat to live, not live to eat. So if you're engaged and you found something you're interested in, and you're engaged in these highly athletic fitness modalities, you have to have the proper fuel in your body. On top of that, you have to make sure that you still indulge here and there because, you know, no one can do that, and it's unrealistic. So people stress themselves out over diet, and I'm not going to go into a whole diatribe about, you know, which diet and not diet, you know, eat whenever, intermittent, all these different things. I know what I do, and maybe some video I'll cover that, but what I do is for me. Figure out what works for you, but make sure that you're just eating as clean as possible. You're making smarter choices. If there's anything I'll tell you to do is just get rid of as much sugar out of your diet as possible, but just get your diet in line so that your vehicle can perform at its peak, right? You put premium fuel, you put premium fuel injector, all the different things you have put into like your vehicle, or if you're in your computer, like we always get the best parts for the things we want to run well, but we don't put the best in ourselves so that we run well. So get your diet in line, man. And last, but certainly not least, is knowledge. Knowledge, knowledge, knowledge. Knowledge, knowledge, knowledge. Spike your knowledge, increase your knowledge, whatever, however you want to say it. Watching this video, hopefully, is increasing your knowledge. By learning things, we can get inspired, motivated, but mostly we just have a deeper understanding. And understanding is how you will be successful. It's just a better way to go about getting into these things. Like if you are trying to work out, you just go to the gym and you jump on a machine, or you do something you saw and you're not really understanding A, how to do it, or, you know, B, why you're doing it. It can really just shorten your journey and cut your whole path short. Okay, get in there. There's so many places to get information now. There's no reason not to. Poke around, learn as much as you can. If you get interested in something, I would imagine that you would do that anyway. Whether it's the fitness or the diet, enhance your knowledge as much as possible to make sure that you're, again, performing as best you can. Okay, the reason I made this video is because I'm turning 43 in a month or two, right? Going into my 40s, I have to say that I am in my 40s, the best shape of my life. I am in peak condition. I run circles around people that are half my age, and I out grapple them, I out strike them. I refuse to let my age be a factor. Remember this, guys. Aging is inevitable. Getting old is a choice, right? And I choose to stay as fit as possible. I tell my students, my clients, I tell anyone who trains with me, I will ride this thing till the wheels fall off. And through learning all the things I've learned over the years, yes, things do get tight a lot faster. Yes, I can injure myself a lot easier. So I have to be smarter. So what I've had to do in my 40s is train smarter, not harder, right? But through being smart, I've been able to train harder. And now I'm performing better. So I want you to keep all that in mind. I wish you well on this journey. Get it started if you haven't. Keep it going if you are, right? And leave me some comments, man. I'd like to hear from you guys. You know, tell me what's up. As always, if you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe so we can keep this thing going. Keep fighting for fit. No excuses. And I will see you in the next video.